I have mentioned the concept of deep work many times in previous videos, but I never fully explained what it is or how powerful it can be, especially for programmers. So today I want to dedicate a whole video to this concept. If you feel like you're not making as much progress in coding as you should be, the lack of deep work might be the reason. Since I started coding, I have applied this concept consistently, and as a result I have made serious progress. I mean, better code, improved learning skills, and I even started this new YouTube channel. So here's what you are going to learn from this video. What deep work is and where I got the idea from, how it relates to programming, its biggest benefits, the rules you need to follow, and also how I apply it in my own journey so you can do it on your own. Let's begin. Before we go deeper, I want to give credit to where I got this idea from. It's a book called Deep Work, here it is, by Cal Newport. In brief, deep work is a state where you put your full focus on a mentally demanding task, like programming, without any distractions, like music or notifications. According to Cal Newport, deep work is where real progress happens. It's how you learn faster, build better, and how you get more skilled over time. And honestly, this makes perfect sense for coders. Programming demands two things: getting new knowledge and then using it to build stuff. Very simply put. Both learning and building are tasks that demand long hours of concentration. That's exactly what deep work is. Extensive periods of time where you just sit down and work on a single task without any distractions. The opposite of this is what the book calls shallow work. Basically, it's when your attention is spread over multiple things and you are distracted. I believe that you understand why this is the opposite of what we want as programmers. You won't be able to neither learn nor build if your attention is spread over multiple things, like multiple tabs on your computer, or I don't know, if you have Instagram open. So now that you have a decent grasp of what deep work actually is, let's go over its benefits more thoroughly. The first benefit is obviously productivity. Very simply put, when you have your full focus on a single task with no distractions or multitasking, you do it better and you get more done, obviously. Programming demands long hours of concentrated work without any distractions. Well, that's what deep work is. From personal experience, I can tell you this. When I'm coding in a deep work session, it's easier to fix bugs, understand complex ideas, build cleaner and better structured projects, and generally the quality of work that you do is simply higher. The second benefit is that you're going to stand out from your peers and competitors. Most people today are distracted, constantly checking their phones, scrolling, constantly switching from task to task. You get the point. That gives you an edge. Because if you can develop the ability to work deeply while everyone else is distracted, you'll be able to outpace them, not only in coding, but in all areas of life. So when everybody else is on their phone scrolling, we're going to refrain from that, and instead we're going to immerse ourselves in our goals. I believe you can understand that it's going to be much easier to outwork your competitors, who are probably engaging in social media too much. The next and final benefit that I want to cover is the satisfaction you get from focused work. The book actually has an entire chapter dedicated to this idea, called Deep Work is Meaningful. When you're focused on something you care about, like coding, and you're giving it your full attention, that work becomes deeply satisfying, much more so than passive entertainment. That's because when working on something, you have a goal in mind that is going to reward you when you achieve it. This, in addition with the challenges that you need to overcome in order to achieve your goals, are going to make you lose yourself in your work, which in our case is learning and writing code. In other words, the book argues that deep work is much more purposeful than your free time, which requires much greater effort to be shaped into something that can be enjoyed. And I can say that that's true from personal experience. So now let's go over the rules that you need to follow in order to get into deep work. The first rule is to be content with being bored. Whether you like coding or not, You are frequently going to experience boredom when you work deeply, especially if it is your first time. I'm going to be honest with you. There will be no music, no notifications, and no background noise. Just you and the task. Know that it's natural if you get bored. What you must do then is to just keep grinding and you'll gradually get into a flow state. A state where your brain only thinks about your task. You can even see boredom as a parameter for if you are really entering a deep work state. The second rule is called draining the shallows in the book. Basically what this means is spending less and less time on shallow activities, like social media. The more time you spend doing shallow work, the more your brain becomes used to distractions. Instead, what you want to do is to train your brain to work deeply, which in our case is to code deeply. And that's actually the third rule. Consistent practice of deep coding is going to make your brain accustomed to it, and as a result you'll become more productive and you'll also find it easier. If you have never done this before, I suggest starting with just 2 hours of deep coding per week, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. Over time you want to increase the volume and you'll reach a point where you spend multiple hours working deeply daily. That's the state I'm currently in. That doesn't only mean writing code, but also learning new concepts, or in my case, working on this channel. So in the next part, I'm going to tell you how I apply this concept in my own journey. Most mornings, if I don't have any events planned, I wake up, take a cold shower, which helps with alertness, and then I dive into a 90-minute deep work session. After a short break, I do a smaller session. Let me tell you a quick story. Near the end of the summer break last year, I had 11 days left and I wanted to use them in order to build something useful. So I decided to learn the tkinter Python library and build a small GUI project. I started by watching a course on YouTube and then I went on and started building a Morse code translator. It wasn't anything significant, but I believe that if I wasn't able to sit down and code deeply, I wouldn't have been able to complete this goal of mine in time. In other words, the reason I was able to finish this was because it was only me, my code, and my goal. No music, no notifications, no extra tabs, just me and the goal. So that's all I have to say for today, and I hope you gained something out of this video. If you think that deep work is going to help you in your journey, as it did in mine, start practicing it. Don't overthink it, it's not that big of a deal. Just take action. Remember, no notifications, no music, just you and your goal. Anyways, if I helped, press the subscribe or the like button and start working deeply without any distractions. Anyway, take care.